From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
The Ear to There Podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Ear to There, it's time to start the fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Disney Podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and the founder of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney specialized travel agency. It is my passion and my goal in life, that is all true, to take away all of that stress, all that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the really fun things like having a phenomenal time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And I do all of that. I take away all of that stress, all of that anxiety. I give you back all that time at absolutely no extra cost to you. So from booking your dining reservations, your fast passes, to getting you the best possible hotel or package price, to helping you with discounts, promotions, special event tickets, flights, transportation, golf tee times, you name it, I do it all for free. So let me be your guide. That's who I want to be. I want to be the Winnie the Pooh to your Christopher Robin. Listen, I might not be the smartest. I might not be the funniest, but Winnie the Pooh knows Christopher Robin, and he knows the 100-Acre Wood better than anyone. Just like I know Walt Disney World better than, well, most. You can find this podcast, my blog, my live videos, or request a free, yes, free, no obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. And you know what? I want to hear from you. Do you like this episode? Did you like the last episode? Do you have a guest that you'd like to hear from? A show topic that you'd like to hear about? Let me know. Head over to eartotheretravel.com/message. Send me a message. Let me know what you think about the show. Every person that sends me a message in the month of September will be eligible to win a free candle from the Magic Candle Company. Again, that's eartotheretravel.com/message. Okay, this is episode number 142 for the week of September 23rd, 2018. Now, a few months ago, a client and a friend, a famous mouse, once said, reached out to book a cruise on the Disney Cruise Line. Now, she's never been on a Disney cruise before, and she had a lot of questions for me, basically, about how the Disney cruise works. She sent me a copy of the questions, and as soon as I got it, I said, you know what? This isn't an email that I'm going to write back to you. This is a podcast episode. Because before I took my first Disney cruise, I had no idea about almost all of the answers to these questions. And she wrote a lot of questions. Well, how many questions? All right, let me count how many questions were written by said friend in this email. Hold on one second. Let me count. Carry the 1 to 20. Yeah. Okay, 27. 27 questions in one email. So yes, that is not an email to return. That is a podcast to record. I'm not going to embarrass my friend by naming who she is, but at least, you know, she is a woman. She is from Texas. She has been on the show as a guest. So there you go. You can use your detective reasoning skills to figure it out. So what I'm going to do, which I thought would make a really neat podcast episode, is I'm going to go through each one of her questions and then answer them right here on the show. This will hopefully give you a much better idea of how a Disney cruise operates, and it might clear up a lot of those questions you may have when booking your Disney cruise. Remember, I can book that cruise for you. www.eartotheretravel.com. All right, here we go. Let's get to the questions. You know what? They're not numbered, so I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to say 1, 2, because I'm going to lose my place, because math is not my strong suit. Did you hear me counting a minute ago? Yeah, I think you did. So here we go. Yeah. Here's the first question. What beverages are included on the Disney Cruise Line and which ones are not? Is there a beverage package you can buy? And if so, what does it include and how much is it? All right, so first off, I'm recording this podcast in September of 2018. The prices are going to change up and down, left and right, and I want to make this episode last as long as possible. So I'm not really going to go into pricing really on the show at all, but I will tell you, and my friend, I will email you and let you know the prices, what they are currently. But Disney does not offer, on their cruise line, Disney Cruise Line does not offer quote unquote beverage packages. So if you've been on, say, Carnival Cruise Line, there's a certain price that you can pay per day and get an allotted number of alcoholic beverages that day. That's not how Disney Cruise Line does it. With Disney, they do have wine beverage plans, not where you have, certain glasses of wine you can get per day, but you will get a delivery of wine bottles to your room for the set amount of days. And with beer, it's the same way. There's a beer package. They call it a package. It's really not a package. You can buy 6 beers, a bucket of 6 beers for the price of 5 and have those delivered to your room as well. That's kind of how it works. They're the packages. There's that wine package where they deliver bottles of wine to your room. And there's the beer package where they deliver a 6-pack for the price of 5 beers to your room. That is pretty much it. Other than that, all of your drinks are kind of bought when you buy them. You can also bring alcohol on the ship. Each adult over the age of 21 can bring a 6-pack of beer for the cruise, or you can bring a bottle of alcohol on the cruise with you. But that's about it as far as the alcohol packages go on the cruise. Okay, next one. Is there a photo pass on board? And if so, is there a photo package you can buy to get all of your cruise photos? If so, what are the options and how much is it? Again, I'm not going to go into a lot of prices just because they will change frequently. But there are photo pass, I guess you would call them, photographers on board on each Disney Cruise Line ship. They are in the atrium when you first board the ship. They're all over the character greetings, in the dining rooms, and in other spots on the ship as well. And you'll also see them on the beaches at Castaway Cay. And these photographers are going to take your picture. I mean, if you want them to. They're not going to just walk up like paparazzi and start snapping away. But you can pre-purchase a photo package through the Disney Cruise Line up to 2 days before your cruise. You can also purchase that package on the cruise while the cruise is going on. That price is going to be a little bit more expensive than the one you would buy ahead of time. And then there are a whole bunch of different photo packages. There's a digital collection, the Prince packages, the customizable photo books. You could even order a private photo shoot, photo session for your kids or your family or whatever you want. All right, next question. Is there a way to pay for upgraded or earlier boarding other than having a lot of cruises or being concierge level? The short answer on this one is no, but it is a little more complicated than that. So if it's your first Disney cruise, you can do online check-in 75 days before your departure date or your sail date. If you have been on a Disney cruise before and you're Silver Castaway Club level, you get 90 days ahead. And then if you're coming from the Walt Disney World Resort or you're using that Disney Cruise Line transportation, you don't have the option to pick a boarding time. You'll be told at your resort when the bus is going to pick you up. You have to be there at a certain time. And then as soon as you get to the port, you can jump right in line and get on the ship. But when you do your online check-in, if you're not using Disney transportation, it will have a boarding time for you to pick. That's kind of the only way to do it unless you want to pay for that concierge level where you get that earlier boarding time that day. All right. Do you have a Magic Band or card to pay for purchases? Or is everything charged to your cabin in some other way? Or do you have to have cash and cards? Everything is tied to your Key to the World card, which is the way Walt Disney World used to do it pre-Magic Bands, right? So if you remember having that little plastic credit card looking Key to the World card that you used to open your resort room door and charge back to the room and all of that, that's how a Disney Cruise Line works. Of course, you could use cash or you could use a debit or credit card to buy something on board as well. But the Key to the World card makes it super easy It's your room key, it's your charge card, and it charges everything back to your cabin under your account. I really, really recommend using that. And then don't give your kids charging privileges. Don't let them go to the stores on the ship and buy whatever they want. All right. Oh, I didn't realize. Let me go back to really quickly. I want to interrupt this session to answer something from question 1 that I forgot to answer. And it's what beverages are included on the Disney Cruise Line. So everything from juices to soft drinks, coffee, tea, tap water, that is all included on a Disney Cruise Line. Again, any alcohol is extra. You have to pay for that. Any specialty coffees that you may find on board, there's a little coffee shop on some of the ships. You have to pay for those as well. But any of those beverages that you might want to drink, like the juices or the soft drinks, soda, coffee, all that stuff is included in your package. All right, next question. Are tips included, or do you have to have cash for those? Is there a way to prepay tips? So here's how it works for tipping on the Disney cruise. A 15% gratuity is automatically added to your bar, beverage, wine, and deck service tabs. So whenever you get a drink or something from the bar, you'll see that 15% gratuity has been included. Then as far as your servers and things like that goes, here's how it breaks down. If you're on a 3-night cruise, Disney suggests you tip the dining room server $12 per guest, the dining room assistant server $9 per guest, the dining room head server $3 per guest, and the stateroom host $12 per guest. That obviously goes up with a 4-night cruise or a 7-night cruise or further up the line. As far as the other typical roles like dining manager, room service, Palo or Remy, those are all your discretion. Senses, spa, and salon charges an 18% gratuity. You don't need to tip for the kids clubs, babysitting, or for the port adventures. And you can, in fact, pay these gratuities ahead of time by contacting the Disney Cruise Line no later than 3 days before your cruise begins. Or you can also pay by having the suggested gratuity added automatically to your account before the end of your cruise. That's a really easy way to do it. Of course, you can tip more than is recommended. That, again, you have to go to the guest services desk on the cruise line, and you can tip more than the suggested amount. Okay. When and how does one sign up for the Castaway Cay 5K? All right, when you get on the ship, go to guest services. That is where you will be able to sign up for the Castaway Cay 5K. That was an easy one to answer. All right, next one. How can you view your excursion options, and when and how do you book them? Okay, so for the excursions, which Disney calls Port Adventures, you can book them under your itinerary page on the Disney Cruise Line website or by contacting your travel agent. First-time sailors can book their Port Adventures 75 days prior to sail date. Silver Castaway Club members 90 days prior to sail date. Gold Castaway members 105 days prior to sail date. And Concierge and Platinum Castaway Club members 120 days prior to sail date. And that is all I have to say about that. Can you explain how dining assignments work? Do you have an assigned table? Is everyone seated at once, or is it more staggered like a land restaurant? Okay, for the rotational dining on the Disney Cruise Line, you will be eating in a certain restaurant each night. When you sign up for your Disney cruise or have your travel agent book it for you, you're going to be able to pick the first seating or the second seating, or main seating or the second seating. Disney will assign you a table, and they always try to put everyone in the same party or everyone whose reservations are linked together at the same table. Everyone is not really seated at once, so you either have that main seating or the second seating. You will have a set time to show up for each dinner, and then you kind of get there as on time as you possibly can. Do yourself a favor, don't get there late. Be on time, because it's a little difficult for your servers to coordinate everything if you were 20 minutes late. I've seen them take guests who were late, but then it messes up the whole production they have going there. So get to your seating on time and everything will work out just fine. All right, how does the kids club work? How do they get in touch with you if your kid needs you? Are there limits to how much your kid can use it if they really like it? So here's the awesome thing about the kids clubs. Here's how they work. When you check in, when you get on the ship, that first day, there will be an open house. So you, as the parent, can go to the kids clubs with your children. You can walk through, you can check them out, you can meet the counselors. It's really cool. As a matter of fact, my wife and I wanted to stay with the kids because it's awesome. And there are characters and activities and arts and crafts and video games. And it's an amazing, amazing experience, or they are for the kids. So if you don't have to do the open house, if you just trust that your kid will like it, you can just kind of sign them up on the first and the second day. And I think later than that, there will be a table in the hallway outside the kids clubs where you go to the cast member and sign your children up for the kids clubs. They will give your kids magic bands, basically. They're little bands that have like a GPS in them, so they can kind of keep track of which kids club your kid is in and what activity they are doing at that moment, which is really cool because at any point you could use your Wave phone to, which they're getting rid of, I believe. You can text, I guess, the kids club using the Messenger app. I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, and you can check what your kid is doing. So they have the Wave phones that, again, they are phasing out, but they are basically onboard like little cell phones that they can use to get in touch with you about your child if your child needs you or whatever. They also will text you on the Messenger app, or I guess message you. There's a Disney Messenger Navigator app that you get on your phone. I recommend downloading it before you go and get on the cruise ship. And they will also send you messages on there to let you know that your child wants to leave or if they, have a problem or whatever. Can your kids use it as much as they want? Is there a limit? No. If you want to be a neglectful parent, and I couldn't get through that. I'm sorry. I actually was one of those neglectful parents. My kids love the kids club. I would have left them there all day if they allowed me to. They wanted to stay there, but my wife wanted to spend some quality time with the kids, so we had to get them. No, you can leave them there as long as you want, as long as they like it, they are allowed to stay. Next up, if you have kids with you, but they are elsewhere in the kids club or with the other parent or family, can an adult use the adults-only areas, or is it just for cruisers who didn't bring kids at all? If you are an adult and you don't have a child with you, you can use those adults-only areas. The only rule that they have is there are no rules. No, the only rule they have is kids can't be there. That's it. So yeah, if your kid's in a kids club and they have a way to get in touch with you, go to the adult-only things. Next, and I kind of touched on this a minute ago, without a cell plan, is it still possible to use cell phones to communicate with each other on board the ship? Yes. So using that Disney Cruise app, you can message people back and forth, anyone in your party or anyone. Say you meet a friend on the cruise ship, you guys can exchange information and you will be able to kind of text back and forth on the Messenger app as well. And it has Disney emojis, which is really fun. You could text back Disney and Star Wars and Marvel emojis back and forth with each other. I tried to send Amy, my wife, messages using only Star Wars and Avengers emojis. She didn't think that was too much fun. All right, how do we know what the schedule is for things like formal night, pirate night, etc., so that we can pack appropriate items? Just look at your Disney Cruise Line itinerary. It'll have a list of which nights you can expect on your Disney Cruise Line cruise. That way you can kind of pack accordingly. Some of the cruises have the Star Wars Day at Sea. Some of them have the Marvel Day at Sea, the Incredible Day at Sea. There are the Halloween-themed cruises, the Christmas cruises. So just look and see what your itinerary says. That way you can know what exactly your cruise will have. Next question. How do we know how to get around the boat? You mean ship, list writer. It's not a boat. It's a ship. As in finding our stateroom when we board and knowing where all the food and entertainment venues are. So the app, what I keep saying Messenger, Navigator, it's the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app that you'll download for your phone. That has a map on it so you can kind of look and see exactly where you're going. Make sure you download that. Again, the Disney Cruise Line Navigator, download that before your cruise so it's ready to go once you board the ship. Then there are maps everywhere. There are cast members who live on the ship so they know exactly where you're going. And all over the place, there are signs that kind of direct you to where you want to be. It sounds a little confusing before you get on the ship. I promise you, once you're on there for 2 hours, you'll know exactly where you're going. Everything is clearly marked. The signs are clearly marked. It's very, very easy to navigate your way around the ship once you board. How do I know what the weather will be like or to pack the right type of clothing? Dude, you're asking the wrong person. If I'm on a cruise ship, I'm wearing shorts and t-shirts and that's it. Forget it. No, just look, what we did last year in the last couple of years is we just kind of looked at the weather for where we were going and packed accordingly. Mostly you're going to be in the Bahamas, you're going to be in the Caribbean, you're going to be in Alaska, you're going to be in the Mediterranean. I would say just keep a really close eye on that weather in a couple of weeks before you go. Look at the historical weather for that region, know where you're going to be, and then kind of pack accordingly. I will say, even in the summer, it gets a little cool on the ship at night when you're in the outside areas. So I would bring, even if you're going in, August, September, bring like a light sweatshirt or something, just so you make sure your bases are covered. All right. Are the pools heated to make swimming more comfortable in the winter months? The main pool is absolutely heated. The child's pool is heated naturally. I'm kidding. Oh man, that's funny. I make myself laugh. No, the child's pool is heated as well. What's funny is I did find the child's pool a little warmer when I was walking in with my toddlers before. When I was kind of walking through, it was up to my my knee. It's a little warmer than a regular pool. I'm just saying. But yeah, they are heated. Will a normal schedule allow a party to experience all the non-upgraded dining venues on board a ship? Yes. You will get to experience all 3 of the rotational dining rooms on your cruise. Even if it's a 3-day, you get 1 in each location. Okay, when and how do you book an upgraded dining location and how much is it? Okay, you book these on the online planning center, or you can just ask your travel agent to book them for you. They vary again with what level you are as far as Disney Cruise Line goes. So a first-time cruiser can book 75 days out, Silver Castaway Club 90 days out, Gold Castaway 105 days out, Platinum Castaway 120 days out, and Concierge can book 120 days out as well. As far as the cost goes, again, it's going to vary. I will tell you that Palo is much less expensive than Remy. Next question, is the ship non-smoking or is it easy to avoid smoking areas? So like almost all of the ship is non-smoking. The smoking areas are they're so hidden that we had relatives on our last cruise on the ship that wanted us to meet them at the smoking area, and I couldn't find a darn place. So yeah, they're super out of the way. You're not going to stumble onto those by accident. So that is a really, really good thing for us non-smokers. And for you smokers, you can find it. Just ask. Somebody will be able to point you to that smoking section. All right, next up, if someone in my party has a food allergy, such as shellfish, can that be accommodated? Before I answer that question, I have a question for you. Why don't lobsters give to charity? Because they're shellfish. I crack myself up. No, food allergies are no laughing matter, but that joke was. Yes, Disney Cruise Line is very, very accommodating for any type of food allergy. Just make sure you let them know ahead of time. Your food will be prepared in a different area than the rest of the food. And yeah, they're very, very accommodating, just like Walt Disney World or Disneyland. They're shellfish. Is room service included in the cruise or is it an extra charge? Guess what? Awesome news. It is included in your cruise fare. So man, feel free. You want to order whatever you want. You want a grilled cheese sandwich? You want chicken fingers and fries? You want whatever you want. Go ahead and order it from room service. They will bring it free of charge. You want a Mickey ice cream premium bar? My kids love this, right? Get Mickey ice cream bars and eat them on the white bed, the white blankets, the white sheets. Go ahead and knock yourself out. And if you're listening to this, before you get mad at me and you're like, oh man, you're making housekeeping's work a lot easier. It was our stateroom attendant who told us on the last trip to make sure, our stateroom attendant, who was awesome, said, make sure your kids order Mickey ice cream bars, eat them on the bed. They don't get to do that at home. They don't get to mess up sheets or blankets or eat chocolate wherever they want. On a cruise ship, they get to. So it was awesome. So yeah, I mentioned earlier that tipping is at your discretion. I'd recommend tipping the room service folks, but the service itself is free. Next question, are the plugs in the staterooms compatible with US power cords for devices like tablets and phones? If I have a family member with a medical device like a CPAP, will they be able to bring it on board, or will the power outlets work for it? Assuming it works in its standard outlet at home, yes, 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 and yes. So yeah, anything you have at home that you are allowed to bring on board will plug in your stateroom. Okay, what experiences on board the ship need to be booked in advance? Shows, movie screenings, character meets, photo ops, etc. Where are they listed, and when and how do we book them? All right, I will tell you right now exactly what you can book in advance, besides the dining that we already talked about and the excursions that we already talked about, or the port adventures. Okay, you got it. So yes, character meets can be booked in advance and require a ticket. So once your cruise is paid in full, you can make reservations online for the following, character greetings. Ready? The Princess Gathering, which is all the princesses in the atrium of the ship. The Frozen meet and greet. And then the next three are for select cruises only: the Disney Junior Character Breakfast, the Disney VIP Character Breakfast, and the Royal Court Royalty. Yeah, it's 2 royals in that. Again, go to My Reservations under your Disney cruise on the website, or talk to your travel agent. Again, first-time guests can book 75 days out. Silver Castaway Club members, 90 days out. Gold Castaway Club members, 105 days out. And Concierge and Platinum Castaway Club members, 120 days out. Okay, next up. Is there anything specific we should remember to pack, or is there anything that is forbidden to bring on board? Well, first off, there are some forbidden things to bring on board. No glass, so you can't bring any glass bottles of any kind on board. Obviously, the obvious, like drugs, cannot be brought on board unless they are prescription drugs and you have a prescription for them. Obviously, I hope this goes without saying, but you never know. Weapons, firearms cannot be brought on board. Animals, I wouldn't bring any animals unless they are service animals. Service animals are allowed on most locations on board, but you can't just bring like your cat or your dog that's not a service animal, or your Wolverine. No, that's not going to fly. As far as anything specific that you should remember to pack, I already mentioned earlier the alcohol policy. I believe I mentioned it. Each person can bring a 6-pack on board, or a bottle of wine, or a bottle of liquor. I would remember to pack Dramamine. You never know when the seas are going to get a little rough and you might need it. On our last cruise, my brother-in-law was pretty darn sick for a couple of days. It wasn't a really rocky cruise. He had just never been on a cruise before, so we were fine. My wife and I, my father-in-law, the kids, we were all fine, but he was pretty nauseous for a couple of days there. Remember to pack your kids if they are, in fact, coming with you. All right, so you get the idea. Next question. Do you have to go through customs after a cruise? Yes, you will go through customs after you leave or depart the cruise ship. Next question. What happens if we become injured or sick on a cruise? Here's the really fun part. Disney has what is called a cruise ship cannon, and they just load you up and shoot you off and away you go. No, sorry. I'm in a jokey mood today. Now, Disney does have a medical center on board each ship. A doctor and a nurse is on call 24 hours a day. So if you get sick or if you get injured, there is a doctor and a nurse on board. All right, last question. How do we know what activities, showtimes, locations, and the like are for a given day in order to make our plans on what we'd like to see and do? All right, a couple of ways to do this. One, Disney will put the on-board in-print navigator under your door each and every day. It's basically a big printout of all of the activities, showtimes, movie times, dinner, seating, pool open times, special activities, whatever is going on in the ship will be on that navigator paperwork they'll put in the room every single day. Also, the Disney Cruise Navigator app will have every single thing listed on it for you. Here's where I'm going to go a little off the rails. I'm going to explain to you what makes a Disney cruise awesome, but also makes it feel like it's just a little bit overwhelming sometimes. On any given moment, on any given day, especially the days at sea where you're not in port or the nights at sea, there are like so many activities to do at any given time. You have to choose between awesome activities. You really do. So like when we were on the ship, like Black Panther was playing, and then later there was like A Wrinkle in Time was playing, and those were going against like the Disney Junior Dance Party plus a trivia contest in a different room. Plus there was like pool activities upstairs on the pool deck. There's just so much going on, and you kind of have to just. What we did was we would look at everything that was going on, and then the kids would give their top thing that they wanted to do, and then we would try to do all of those things. But you're going to have to choose between the awesomer activity over the less awesome activity, even though they are both awesome and they are both going on at the same time. I'm not even kidding. Like Cinderella will be reading a book to your children in one of the kids' clubs, while there is a Disney Junior Dance Party going on, while you could be watching some awesome brand new Disney movie in the theater, while one of the stage shows is going on in the big, in the show theater. I mean, it's insane. So just look at your navigator, figure out what is most important to you and your family, and kind of go from there. It's just like Walt Disney World. You're not going to get to do it all on one cruise. You just won't. There's way too much going on. That's why you have to do another one. And another one, and another one. It's like Walt Disney World. Like I said, once you go once, once you go once you go one time, you are going to want to go back again and again and again. So I hope this was helpful to not only my dear friend from Texas who's going on a cruise, this is for you, but to anyone who was thinking about taking a cruise soon on the Disney Cruise Line. I can still book those for you. And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There Disney Podcast. Again, as always, as I say each and every week, thank you so much for listening. I really, really hope you enjoyed this episode, just like I hope you enjoy every single episode that I put out. If you did enjoy it, just let me know. Head to eartotheretravel.com/message. Let me know what you thought about this week's show. And like I said at the start of the show, let me know if you have any suggestions for guests, for show topics. And if you want to just write me a message and say, hey, Phil, the show stinks, go ahead. I mean, I probably won't respond to that one, but, you're welcome to your opinion. Anyway, just remember there will be a new episode of the Ear to There Disney Podcast each and every Monday, as well as an episode of It's a Food World or the Ear to There Podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week, each and every Thursday. So until next time, again, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming back every week. Have yourself an awesome week. Yes, that's 3 awesomes if you're counting at home. Bye-bye.
Ear to there.